Yeah, this is Baruch here at the Tikvan Elevator Kollel. I'm going to start where we start here today in something that I'm not really familiar with, but anyone who's listening can correct me to try to point me in the right direction. Over here, we're going to talk about this topic here. It's called Hanachas Tefillin Mincha. We're talking about, of course, the Rav, the ARI Chodesh. What was his minhag at that time? So he would always put on talis tefillin at mincha time. See if I can get a little bit better focus here. Maybe a little better light. Same light. Okay. We already wrote at Tefillah Shachris time. That he would put on tefillin at mincha time. Tefillin time. This is Rabbeinu Chodesh. That is, I got this mixed up. My name's mixed up. The Rav, the Ruach HaKodesh. Now there's something called das shimusha rabba. And that's what he would put on in Tefillas Mincha. So originally he had both on, but at Mincha time he removed the Rashi and he had just the Rabbeinu Tam. So he says, so how is this? How does this work? He says we're on number, number Kaf Aleph. Kaf Aleph says, V'hoya Rabbeinu Arizach Benizah Ma'od Lehispala Tefillas Mincha. So he says, going on, he says, and he reads on, he says, Rak Tefillin to Rabbeinu Tam. He said, now this is something we saw previously, but it's like something that, in other words, we saw it in the Rav. The Rav wrote about the Tefillin, the Shemusha Rabbah. But at the same time, I never see anybody doing this. But then again, I'm in a rather refined group that doesn't have a lot of different kinds of customs in it. But I don't think I ever saw, first of all, Tefillin, the Shemusha Rabbah, and secondly, that people actually put on a talis Tefillin at Mincha time. So maybe, in fact, he was wearing talis tefillin the whole day, which is possible too. And then after that, he only put them on this tefillin, the Shmuel Rabbah, only on at Mincha time. So we made a little diak over here, and we're going to come back to this number Yud. Let me get it on the page. This number Yud that we had seen. Where is number Yud? I just had it right there. We're going to read about what he talked about the Tefillin, the Shemusha Rabbah. Let's come over here and read this little arichos that he has. Let me get it where we can see it. I think I got the whole thing on the page. We'll try to adjust as we go. Minichem b'tefillas mincha. Zel l'shanu shal Hasham Zel l'shanu sham daf Yud Amadal Yisech b'dam. Kimori Zech b'techila b'choya menicha tefillah the Rashi v'Rebbeinu Tam b'yachad v'mispala b'chem tefillas shachris. Now this I see many times. So people put on, and it seems to be the recommended way if you're following the derech of the ARI Chodesh, then that you would put on both of them at the same time. So he says, and over there in the Shar Kavanas and Tefillin, he says which goes first. It's like that. So he's like the village b'shachris. Kamosha kasi b'perak hakomets ki makom yesh b'rosh l'chanich b'ov be'zugos. Av'mentcha l'cha b'choya b'licha b'chad tefillin d'chbeinu tam. V'achakach also zug tefillin d'Rashi k'savaras shemusha rabbah. Shehem etzba'ayim al etzba'ayim, which are bigger. They're two finger breadths wide by 2 finger breadths wide. V'charitzim, which are the lines in them. That's at least the Tefillin shel Rosh. I think that's what he means. The lines in them, shekuyim, they're sunk in ad makom amaveres. They go all the way through it until the place. I'm not sure exactly how this works. There's a big separation between the sections of the head tefillin. Bo'ofen she'yeh b'kol b'bayis chaluk u'mefurd. So all of the 4 different batim that contain those tefillin are all going to be really separated b'chavero. Uveis atfira, when they're sewn together, that these boxes, these 4 different boxes, chuti hagidim, the threads made out of gid, mapsikin v'oivrech b'socha chabritzim, they interrupt, or they separate, and v'ovrech b'socha chabritzim, and actually path into these ruts, or the cracks, mamash mitzad zeh l'tzad zeh, from one end to the next. U'b'boker choy lovish shnei zugos the Rashi v'Rabbeinu Tam. Now in the morning, going back, he would put on the pairs, the Rashi and the Rabbeinu Tam at the same time. But the Mincha time, Shoshimusha Rabbah Levad, he only did that one. V'hoya ombach the Tefillin Eilo the Shemusha Rabbah Henkvi Shnei Svaros the Rashi v'Rabbeinu Tam. They're actually made according to the Svaros of Rashi Rabbeinu Tam put together. And it really stands in place of the 2 together. So you have this one set of tefillin that means 2. Now, there's no reason given or no pshat given in what the kavanah is by doing this, other than what it just said here, is that it has a way of combining the 2 into one set of tefillin. So they all join together and they become one zug. That's because they're so big. They're two finger breadths wide. So we can learn from here this. The Misha ain't low tefillin the shemusha rabba yedicha b'mincha tefillin the Rabbeinu Tam. V'chein ezer b'mishta chasidim. So this is what the Rebbe Chaim Vital said. Look at the Isa B'Pri Eitz Chaim. Over there he says of Eitz Chaim. He says where it is, and he says he would put on the Bein Time to fill it at Mincha time. I'm going to go like this so it's easier to see. And let me see, which one is my focus there? He said, so he said, he heard, a bracha tefillin the Rashi. He heard somebody putting on the tefillin of Rashi, and then he would put the tefillin on without the bracha. I'm not sure what that meant exactly over there, because it's kind of flow in here. He says, Bir shachat tefillin the Rashi him keneged b'mochen de'ima, but the Rabbeinu Tam keneged b'mochen de'abba. So therefore, you would have the mimadik ones first, and then the abba would be inside of them. But the shemusha rabba keneged b'mochen de'rich, you have a different set of mochin here. These are the mochin that are coming from rich. But the chen shemusha rabba who keneged shtechat tefillin the Rashi for the Rabbeinu Tam. So what he means to say is that Rashi, which represents ima, and Rabbeinu Tam, which represents Abba, are actually subsumed or mvato. I don't know exactly what you say. They're part of Eric Ampin. Vidisha Eric Ampin called was Abba V'Ima, and since it incorporates both of them together, and it's that. So that's what it is. It's a community. So he goes on and he says V'Nar Shalom, the Rishash writes B'Sha'ilus L'Chachmech Amarav. He hikshad is kasha imat tefillin the shemusha rabba chaperim keneged Rashi v'Rabbeinu Tam yachdav. So they're really big timers. They could do both of them at the same time. He said im came in madua lo yoel lahalvish b'shachris tefillin the shemusha rabba b'makom tefillin the Rashi v'Rabbeinu Tam. So why are we doing that? V'od madura mimisha ain't lo tefillin the shemusha rabba. Let's say you don't have them. You wouldn't put the double on them at the same time. He said, so therefore we see that at this time you have to put on the tefillin Shemusha Rabbah. The Rosh V'Rabbeinu Tam, and previously he would just put on the tefillin the Rabbeinu Tam. So now you get the big timers, but you did similar in the morning where you put on 2 suds. Here you're coming and you're putting them in a combined way. Why would you do that, since in the afternoon he only put on Tefillin Tam? V'im came im ein Tefillin the Shemush Rabbah, yesh the Havish the Rosh for the Rebbeinu Tam Yachtav. You could do the same thing. So then why would it be that he would only put on the Rebbeinu Tam Tefillin? But Tzarachin, he says this really has to be looked at more. A cause of Alam Apak B'Pirim Milavosh Rock Tefillin the Rebbeinu Tam. Now this is like, once again, I don't see this. I daven in Litvisher circles, which is difficult enough in terms of they don't put on Rebbeinu Tam Tefillin altogether. So here you're dealing with a different situation where in davening with Sfaradim, there are Sfaradim that put on 2 at the same time, but I never saw someone, I'm not consciously aware of seeing someone who put on Tefillin at Mincha time, other than at Tisha B'Av or different times that may be specified that we have to do that. Over here, what's going on? I don't know. The Mincha al pi sodom shel devarim. There's a sod here that we have to understand, but nobody's bringing us a sod. The Ma'achad the Beferish Itman Shechein Nog of Rizal. So once we saw that this is what he did, Kodem Sha'azach Tefillin the Shemush Rabbah. That's what he did before the Shemush Rabbah. V'chein Nog Gam Marchu Vada. So he's a Vada Numuku Iman V'Anach L'Noneda. So he says really what they're doing and why they're doing it. Some people said that he did that Marchu, that Rabbi Chaim Vital did it one way or another way. But it's really why they do this and why we needed the Shemush Rabbah, especially at Mincha time, which we understand. It's the time at the end. I don't know. So let's go to the next thing and let's see where we are. We are here. He says, Ma'od shalo lehiyos mu'utav, not should be wrapped in the talis with tefillin acher shkia sachama, after the sun goes down. B'tekev koyim esirem ma'al rosho, so immediately he would remove them from his head. V'hoya choshesh b'daver v'zera ma'od, and he was very careful never to have these on while he was after shkia. Well, the Guvarn is boiled, we explained above previously. Gam came in Yinzeh Begabe Nusach Tefillah V'Seifa. So we'll see how this works out. Let's see how far we got. Okay, we have one more that we're going to do. He says, so this is a short piece in this little explanation. He says, Gam Choya Mizchar Ma'od Shalo L'Hashir Ma'uta B'Talis Tefillin Achar Shkia Sachama. He was curious was concerned about what time the sun went down. He would never still have his talis and tefillin on at that time. To take up the shkia sachama, and immediately, with the coming of the falling of of nighttime, or the shkia, the sun goes down. Choya, he says, Choya Masira Ma'ad Rosho, he would remove them from his head. Let's go to the next one. The next one talks about what seems to be a problem, a real stir-up between common practice now in the Ashkenaz for sure. I'm not sure about what I've seen with, actually, that's really the Ashkenaz have gone to as part of what they call the Heka Kedusha, which is a half Kedusha. Excuse me, just say the Shlich Tzibur just says Chazar Sashatz until Kedusha, and then they say, everybody says Kedusha together, and he continues on Balachash and finishes the davening with Lachash. So this is very common now. Every gathering of people, the thought is that we're trying to save time. I believe that's, people are busy, they got to go to this and that, and they have children, so on and so forth, save time. So I believe that's what I think. So he says, though here the Rav writes like this, So the question is that he was very strict and very particular, and this is where you see it mostly at Mincha time. It is that they make this Heka Kedusha. But over here, he makbid al tefilas lachash, but he says even at Mincha time you have to go to both. You have to have a lachash and you have to have a kol ram, and he's going to say that. Gam choy nizchar ma'od betachli shelo la'omroch below chazara. Not to say Mincha without him chazar sashatz. B'tachila b'lachash v'achakach B'kol ram. First of all, it would be in a whisper. That's the quiet one. V'achar kach b'kol ram, and then loud. Kamol tefillah shachris, just like chakras. And B'kol shekain, but tefillah shachris, and most of it, certainly, when you're davening chakras and most of you don't want to make a short version of the repetition. Now, right now, maybe we'll look at it next time. I don't see anything more deep about this, but we'll read what he says, the rule. Even if you were close to Shkia, which is mashma that you want to pray, according to the Rav, before Shkia Sachama. But even if it says even a little bit, even if it's Erev Shabbos, you don't cut short to get into Shabbos. She would say this in a whisper, and then after that. So let's see, we have a number Kaf Daled. We have this little piece over here, and this is where we finish up. He says, Harizal, Hoya Nizchar Ma'od Lehispalo as called Hatfilah Kasidran. He made sure that he did everything in the proper order. Behind this Palo Tehida Tefillas Lachash, the Lacham Mekan Chazaras Hashatz, they would have a Chazaras Hashatz, always. Vakashahoya Zman Dachok Ma'od Lifnei Ashkia, even though that it was really pressured, very close to Shkia. Varafila Be'erev Shabbos Karav L'Shkia, and even Erev Shabbos, near the time of Shkia, he would be, let me see, where am I here? Near the time of Shkia, just one word here, near the time of Shkia, he'd still have a Chazaras Hashatz. This is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Kolel, reading the words of the Holy ARI.